An InfinStor transform is a piece of Python code captured from a jupyterlab cell and stored in the cloud. This transform can be run in several locations, including your jupyterlab server machine, a single VM in the cloud, or scaled out to multiple VMs in the cloud. In this screen recording, we shall see how to run a transform in the jupyterlab server first, and then we'll kick off a run in a single VM in the cloud and see the results in both of these locations. We're going to use the transform hello world that I captured in my previous video. I start off by going to the transforms develop and I press run. Here, when I press select, I have an option of selecting the type of data that is to be input to this transform when it runs. I can select an infant snap, a snapshot of data in an S3 bucket, an infant slice, which is a slice of data between a start and an end time in an S3 bucket, no input data at all, or the MLflow artifacts from a previous experiment run. In this particular example, the hello world transform does not need any input data, so we're going to choose no input data. I hit continue, and here I will let me search for, there we go, hello world is the transform we're going to use. And if you had any parameters that you need to pass to this transform, this is where you would enter the keyword, parameter name, and the value of that parameter. You can spend multiple parameters to the transform in this manner. Next, I will hit continue. In this particular screen, you get to choose where to run the transform. In this first example, we're going to run it in the jupyterlab notebook itself. So I will hit jupyterlab notebook and hit continue. Now, a cell with code has been injected into my jupyterlab notebook. As you can see, it's calling run transforms with the parameters set appropriately. If I hit go, we'll now see first a line is printed out saying MLflow tracking URI is InfinStor : //InfinStor. That basically sends tracking information to the InfinStor MLflow service implementation. Next, we see a line did not find data in cache, running transform, and finally we have hello world. The transform is now complete, and you can see that the Python kernel is idle. Let's go look at the MLflow UI that is supplied as part of the InfinStor platform and see how this latest run got recorded. As you can see here, this run just started, and there was no input data. The transform was hello world, and we just finished running it. That is an example of running a transform in the jupyterlab server itself. Next, let's see an example of running the same transform in a single VM in the cloud. I go back to transforms, run, I press select. Again, we have no input data because we're using hello world. I hit continue and I choose hello world and I hit continue again. There are no arguments for this particular transform, and I choose single VM here. I hit continue. I'm going to use the instance type t3.large, which is more than adequate for this purpose, but there are other options such as t3.medium, GPU instances such as p3.2x_large, etc. t3.large, we hit continue. Now we have a new cell of code injected, which is going to ask for the run location to be single VM, which is basically up in the cloud. Let me hit go. Again, the MLflow tracking URI is correctly set. Data was not found in the cache. We are running again. And now what is happening is that the code is going to be pushed to a single VM in the cloud is going to be started. Code is going to be pushed there and it's going to run there. This runs asynchronously, as you can imagine. It takes a few minutes for the VM to be started up. Once the VM is started up, it's going to be there available for you to send more commands. But as you can see, let's go back to MLflow and see the new experiment run that was started. Right, here we go. This is the new experiment run that has been started. It's not complete yet. We'll come back to this in just a few minutes and see the results of the run in the single VM in the cloud.